Have you ever noticed how the loudest people in the room are often the ones accomplishing the least? While everyone else is busy announcing their plans, posting their goals, and seeking validation for work they haven't even started, there's a different breed of person moving in complete silence. They're not talking about what they're going to do. They're not explaining their vision to people who wouldn't understand anyway. They're just working. Quietly. Consistently. Powerfully. And one day, seemingly out of nowhere, they emerge with results that leave everyone speechless. That's not luck. That's not an overnight success story. That's the power of silent execution. And today, you're going to learn exactly how to harness it. Before we go any further, let me ask you something. How much time have you wasted explaining your dreams to people who aren't even working on their own? How many times have you announced a goal, felt that temporary rush of validation, and then lost all momentum to actually achieve it? Drop a comment below because what I'm about to share will completely transform how you approach your goals, your work, and your entire life. The most powerful move you'll ever make is the one nobody sees coming. That's the truth most people never learn. They think success requires an audience. They think progress needs to be documented, shared, validated. But here's what actually happens when you live that way: you trade your power for comfort. You exchange real progress for the illusion of progress. You get trapped in a cycle of performing instead of producing. Real winners don't announce their plans. They execute them. They don't need to convince anyone they're serious. Their results do the convincing. They understand something that the majority will never grasp, that talking about your goals gives your brain a false sense of accomplishment. The moment you announce what you're going to do, you get a dopamine hit as if you've already done it. Your brain rewards you for the announcement, not the achievement. And that's why so many people never follow through. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone post about their new fitness journey, their new business idea, their commitment to change? They make this big declaration, everyone likes it, everyone comments encouragement. And then what happens? Nothing. A week later, they're back to their old habits. Because the announcement gave them the satisfaction they were seeking without requiring them to do any actual work. This is the trap that keeps 99% of people stuck in mediocrity. They're so busy talking about change that they never actually change. They're so focused on appearing productive that they never become productive. They want credit for intentions rather than results. And the world doesn't work that way. The world rewards those who execute, not those who explain. So here's where everything shifts. Close your mouth and get serious about your life. That's not just a suggestion. That's a command you need to give yourself. Stop explaining. Stop justifying. Stop seeking approval. Just commit. Quietly. Internally. Make a decision that you're done wasting time, done performing for others, done living below your potential. This decision doesn't need an announcement. It doesn't need witnesses. It happens in a quiet moment between you and yourself. That moment when you've finally had enough. Enough of the excuses. Enough of the delays. Enough of being average. That moment changes everything, but only if you keep it private and let it fuel your actions rather than your words. You don't owe anyone an explanation about your goals. Not your friends who aren't going anywhere. Not your family who might not understand your vision. Not the people on social media who are just as lost as you used to be. This is your life. Your one shot. And if you want to transform it, you need to start acting like it matters more than anyone else's opinion. Most people won't understand your hunger anyway. They won't understand why you're suddenly unavailable. Why you're not hanging out as much. Why you're not responding to every message immediately. And that's fine. They don't need to understand. You're not building your life to make sense to others. You're building it to become the person you know you're capable of being, that version of you, the one you think about late at night, the one you've been suppressing for years, the one that haunts you with possibility. That version doesn't need attention. It needs action. Daily, unglamorous, unseen action. The kind of work that nobody applauds because nobody knows you're doing it. Start asking yourself the real questions. Are you actually using your time wisely? Or are you just filling hours with distractions? Are you making the best use of your mornings? Or are you sleeping through your competitive advantage? Are you training your body and strengthening your mind? Or are you just moving through life on autopilot, scrolling, talking, wishing things were different? If you want real change, you need to cut the noise. Stop trying to impress people who aren't even doing anything with their own lives. Stop explaining yourself to people who don't understand growth. Every time you seek their approval, you give away your power. Every time you try to make them understand, you waste energy that should be going into your actual work. Take your goals seriously. Take your time seriously. Take your future seriously. Because if you don't, nobody else will. You want respect? Build something worth respecting. You want people to take you seriously? Start by taking yourself seriously. And you do that not by announcing what you're going to do, but by showing up every single day and doing it. Nobody sees it now. The early mornings. The late nights. The sacrifices. The discipline. The moments when you choose work over comfort. But one day, they'll wonder how you did it. And the answer will be simple: you shut your mouth and got serious. You stopped needing applause. You stopped waiting for perfect conditions. You just started walking. Here's what happens when you commit to working in silence. You learn to enjoy the quiet. You make peace with being misunderstood. You stop feeling the need to update everyone about your progress. And in that space, that silent, focused space, you build something that speaks for itself. Something undeniable. Something that can't be ignored. There's incredible power in someone who doesn't need to talk. Someone whose presence communicates everything. That's who you can become. But you have to want it badly enough. You have to be tired of being average. Tired of feeling behind. Tired of the same routine producing the same mediocre results. You want to win in public? Then fight in private. Do the work nobody sees. Master the things that don't get likes. Put your head down and grind every single day without skipping, without complaining, without waiting. Because here's the brutal truth: nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to hand you a better future. You have to earn it with effort, focus, and relentless consistency. Now let's talk about the daily work. Because this is where most people completely fail. They have good intentions. They might even have a moment of strong decision. But they can't maintain it. They can't show up day after day when it's not exciting, when nobody's watching, when results aren't coming fast. Work quietly on your goals every single day. Not just when you feel motivated. Not just when conditions are perfect. Every single day. Because life doesn't reward people who work occasionally. It rewards those who show up consistently, even when it's uncomfortable, even when progress feels slow, even when it seems like nothing is happening. You need to build a rhythm that works for you. Not someone else's routine that looks good on Instagram. Your own sustainable pace. Maybe that means waking up an hour earlier. Maybe it means eliminating certain time wasters from your life. Maybe it means reorganizing your entire schedule around your priorities. Whatever it is, make the change now. Don't wait for the perfect time, because that day never comes. The people who actually win are not the ones who talk the most. They're the ones who show up day after day, getting incrementally better, without needing to broadcast it. You'll see them a year later and they've completely transformed. But you didn't see the 6 a.m. mornings. You didn't see the nights they chose discipline over comfort. You didn't see the thousands of small decisions that nobody applauded. And that's exactly how it should be. Because they weren't doing it for show. They were doing it for themselves. That's the fundamental shift you need to make. Stop trying to impress people. Stop waiting for validation. Start building something for you. Don't post about it. Don't brag about it. Don't wait for feedback. Just work. Focus on the mission. Focus on the goal. And stay with it through the boring parts, through the lonely parts, through the parts where nobody understands what you're doing. Because here's what most people don't realize: those who keep going during the hard parts are the ones who get somewhere. Everyone else quits when the initial excitement fades. You have to be okay with not being noticed for a while. You have to be comfortable putting in work that doesn't get recognized. Because eventually, the results will show. Eventually, your growth will speak louder than anything you could have said. But you have to earn it first. You have to show up for it. You have to be patient with the process. This isn't just about working hard. It's about working smart. Use your time wisely. Don't just stay busy, stay focused. Know exactly what you're trying to build. Make a clear plan. Write it down. Break it into daily steps. Then follow through every single day, even when you're tired, even when the excitement wears off. Think about this. 1 hour of focused effort every day equals over 360 hours a year. That's enough to completely transform any area of your life. Master a new skill. Build a side business. Get in the best shape of your life. But it only works if you don't skip days. It only works if you stop waiting for inspiration and make it a non-negotiable habit. The truth is, your future depends on what you do when nobody's watching. It depends on how you use your mornings, your evenings, your free hours. That time adds up. It compounds. But only if you're intentional with it. Only if you're using it to build rather than waste it seeking validation or consuming meaningless content. Now let me share something critical about motivation versus discipline. You're not going to feel motivated every day. That's completely normal. But that's not a reason to stop. Motivation is just a feeling. It comes and goes. Discipline is what carries you when motivation fades. Discipline is what separates those who achieve from those who just talk about achieving. So build discipline like you'd build muscle, through consistent repetition. Start small if you need to, but start. And once you start, don't break the chain. Show up tomorrow. Then the next day. Then the day after that. Not because it feels good, but because you committed. Because your word to yourself is more important than temporary comfort. And while you're building this discipline, protect your peace. You don't need to explain your routine to anyone. You don't owe people your schedule. You don't need to convince anyone why you're working late, why you're skipping social events, why you're not always available. Stay quiet. Stay focused. You're not doing this for attention. You're doing this for freedom. For strength. For the person you're becoming. There's a unique kind of pride that comes from knowing you've been consistent when nobody was looking. That you've been improving without showing off. That you kept your word to yourself even when it wasn't easy. That's real confidence. Not the fake confidence that comes from likes and comments. Real confidence built from showing up again and again. From doing what you said you'd do. From becoming someone you're genuinely proud of. Someone who didn't quit. Someone who stayed true to the work. Eventually, people will notice your transformation. But by then, you won't need their validation. You'll already know who you've become. You'll have felt it in every disciplined morning. In every completed goal. In every moment you chose growth over comfort. That internal knowing is worth more than any external recognition. Now let's address something that holds most people back, the need to prove themselves. Stop proving and start doing what really matters. That's where life begins to shift. Not when you convince people. Not when you impress people. But when you decide you don't need their approval anymore. Most people waste enormous amounts of energy trying to be understood, trying to be liked, trying to be accepted. But none of that moves your life forward. None of that builds your future. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You need to make progress. Quiet, steady, personal progress. Trying to prove yourself keeps you in a constant cycle of seeking permission. You explain, you update, you chase recognition. And here's what really happens: you slow down. You lose focus. You forget why you started because now you're not doing it for growth. You're doing it to be noticed. And that's where the downfall begins. When you care more about being seen than becoming better, you trade progress for performance. That's how people get stuck in the same place for years. They look busy. They sound motivated. But nothing in their life actually changes because they're focused on the image instead of the work. You don't need to announce every step you take. You don't need to be understood by everyone. That's not the goal. The goal is to improve. To evolve. To fix what's broken. To face your weaknesses and do something about them. That doesn't require noise. It requires action. It requires honesty with yourself. It requires you to stop pretending and start working. The world is full of people who talk endlessly but accomplish very little. They dress the part. They speak the part. But nothing changes because they're addicted to looking like they're winning instead of doing the work that actually creates wins. If you want something better for yourself, stop following that pattern. Stop trying to be impressive. Start trying to be effective. Start trying to be real. Doing what really matters means cutting through distractions. It means being serious about your time. It means looking at your daily habits and asking, are these helping me get where I want to go? And if the answer is no, change them immediately. Not tomorrow when it's easier. Now. Because your life isn't going to wait. Your goals aren't going to build themselves. You either do the work or you don't. There's no middle ground. People spend years trying to earn respect from people who don't even know what they want in life. They make choices based on how things look instead of what actually works. They avoid hard things because hard things don't come with instant praise. But here's the reality, what really matters rarely looks exciting. It looks like early mornings when you'd rather sleep. It looks like cutting out comfort when you'd rather relax. It looks like sacrificing now to live better later. And most of all, it looks like saying no to things that waste your time, even when those things are popular or socially expected. Doing what really matters requires absolute clarity. You can't chase everything and expect to make progress. You have to define what's important. You have to know your priorities. And once you know them, you protect them fiercely. You don't compromise. You don't make excuses. You don't wait for others to support you. When you stop proving and start building, you free yourself. You stop needing the world's permission. You stop waiting for applause. You start making decisions based on your own standard. That's where real strength comes from. When you can stand alone. When you can show up without a crowd. When you can push forward even when nobody claps. Some people won't understand your choices. Some will doubt you. Some will think you've changed. And they're right. You have changed. Because staying the same means staying stuck. Growth means doing things differently. It means walking away from habits that don't serve you. It means focusing on results rather than reactions. Build your habits without telling anyone about them. This is one of the most powerful strategies for real transformation. Not because hiding makes you mysterious, but because silence protects your process. It keeps your focus sharp. It keeps your effort honest. Most people sabotage their own growth by announcing everything. They start something good, and before it's even taken root, they broadcast it. They want immediate praise for what they've barely begun. And once they get that approval, the motivation fades. Because it feels like they've already accomplished something when they haven't followed through on anything yet. Building habits is deeply personal. It's not for the camera. It's not for a crowd. It's for you. And the more you keep it private, the more real it becomes. The more it grows as part of your identity. A habit isn't a statement. It's a repeated action. Something you do without needing attention. It becomes part of who you are over time. You don't need to announce that you're waking up early. Just wake up early. You don't need to tell people you're reading more. Just read. You don't need to explain your new routine or show everyone your plan. Just follow it. Your habit doesn't become stronger by talking about it. It becomes stronger by repeating it. When you work in silence, you protect your energy. You avoid the trap of needing approval for your growth. You avoid having to explain yourself when you hit a setback. And you avoid the temptation to quit just because people aren't noticing your effort. At the beginning, your willpower is fragile. You're building something new. It's unfamiliar. And in that vulnerable phase, talking about it too soon can kill the momentum. Because once you start sharing, you invite opinions. You invite distractions. You invite judgment. All of that can throw you off course. You start worrying about how it looks instead of how it feels. You start trying to match expectations instead of staying true to your path. But when you keep it to yourself, you don't have to prove anything. You're not performing. You're just showing up quietly, repeatedly. That's how real change happens. Some people won't notice your growth at first. Some might even question why you seem different or distant. That's fine. You're not living for them. You're not making choices for their comfort. You're creating a better future for yourself. And that future is built with habits you stick to, not ones you talk about. Every day you have a chance to do something that helps you grow. Wake up and execute without needing to be seen. Track your progress privately. Reflect on mistakes quietly. Adjust your strategy in peace. You'll be amazed at how fast your life transforms when your energy goes into doing instead of explaining. Building habits in silence also teaches you self-trust. You start believing in yourself on a deeper level. You don't need external reminders to keep going. You've made a promise to yourself and you're keeping it. That changes your confidence fundamentally. Not through compliments or praise, but through knowing you've been consistent even when nobody noticed. This kind of discipline becomes embedded in who you are. You wake up and your day already has structure. You don't waste time deciding what to do. You don't need to find motivation every morning. You've built a system, and now that system carries you. But it only works if you do the hard part first, building it when it was tough, when it wasn't exciting, when nobody was watching. Take action daily and say nothing about it. That's how you separate yourself from the talkers. The ones who really want it move in silence. They put in work every single day without needing attention or approval. Those are the ones who end up changing their lives. Not the ones always explaining. Not the ones constantly sharing. The quiet ones who execute. Every day, life gives you the chance to get better. You don't need to tell anyone what you're about to do. Just do it. You don't need to prove you're serious. Show it through discipline. Show it through consistency. Show it through outcomes. People waste so much time talking about their plans. They get addicted to the feeling of announcements. But announcements don't create transformation. Work does. Quiet, steady, unglamorous work done daily. You don't need a crowd. You don't need applause. You don't need to share your plans in group chats or post updates every time you take a step. Most people seek external accountability, but real accountability comes from within. From knowing you don't need anyone watching to give your best. From knowing you're building for yourself, not for validation. If something matters to you, you'll show up for it. Not once a week when it's convenient. Every day. Whether you're tired, stressed, busy, or uninspired. Show up. That's what creates lasting change. Not loud goals or dramatic declarations, but quiet follow-through. You want to improve your health? Show up. You want to become more skilled? Show up. You want to turn your life around? Show up. And do it without announcing it. People often mistake silence for weakness. But real strength is doing the work when nobody sees. When nobody praises. When nobody checks in. You know what you're doing. You know where you're going. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to defend your routine. Just take the next step and keep taking it. There's a power that builds inside you when you act without needing a reaction. You stop depending on validation. You stop waiting for feedback. You begin trusting yourself at a level most people never reach. You don't need reminders from the world to keep going. You've made a choice, and now you live by it. Not loudly, not emotionally. Quietly, focused, grounded. You don't need to make noise to make progress. You don't need to explain your priorities to people who don't understand them. Every time you take action without broadcasting it, you build discipline. You build internal control. You build momentum that can't be stopped because now you're not doing it for approval. You're doing it because it matters. That's what most people don't understand. They think if they're not seen, it doesn't count. But the truth is, the best progress happens in the dark. When no one's asking about it. When no one's cheering for it. That's where real transformation occurs. Not when cameras are on, but when the world is silent and you still show up. Taking action daily means building structure in your life. You don't need to force yourself every day. You just need commitment. You don't rely on moods or feelings. You rely on the fact that your actions today will shape your life tomorrow. Every workout. Every study session. Every focused hour. These are building blocks. These are the steps. Stack enough of them and you'll look back a year from now barely recognizing yourself. Not because you said you'd change, but because you actually did. Stay away from distractions that pull you into performing. Stay away from people who ask what you're doing but never do anything themselves. Let your actions be the answer. Let your growth be the response. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be great. And greatness takes focus. It takes ignoring the noise. It takes having the courage to do what you know is right even when it's not loud or praised. Improve yourself in silence and trust your pace. That's how lasting change is built. Not in the noise. Not in the comparison. But in the quiet, steady process of getting better on your own terms. It's not about being faster than someone else. It's about moving with intention. Getting better because you've decided you're worth more than where you are now. The world moves fast. Everywhere you look, people are broadcasting their progress. And if you're not careful, you start feeling behind. But behind what? Whose timeline are you following? Who decided you need to catch up? The truth is, nobody's path is the same. And the only timeline that matters is your own. You only understand this when you step away from the pressure to prove yourself. When you decide to grow quietly without asking for permission or validation. Silence protects your process. It gives you room to breathe. To reflect. To work without the pressure of expectations. It lets you make mistakes without feeling like you failed publicly. Growth is messy. Some days feel strong. Others feel uncertain. But all of it counts. And when you give yourself space to experience it without broadcasting it, you develop a deeper kind of strength. One that doesn't need approval to keep going. Improving in silence doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough to stay focused. You're not chasing noise. You're not looking for applause. You're building something real. And real progress takes time. It takes patience. It takes the kind of effort nobody else will see. But you'll feel it in your focus. In your choices. In how you start showing up differently. You grow when you stop rushing. When you stop comparing your beginning to someone else's middle. When you stop forcing outcomes and start trusting the process. There's a natural rhythm to your life. Find it. Follow it. Don't fight it. There's no prize for being fastest. But there's profound peace in being most grounded. Trusting your pace means respecting where you are right now. It means not beating yourself up for not being further along. It means recognizing your wins, even the small ones, because they matter. Every new habit you maintain. Every day you don't quit. Every time you keep going without needing to talk about it, that's growth. Most people fall apart not because they're weak, but because they try to force change too quickly. They want transformation overnight. They want results in a week. And when that doesn't happen, they lose hope. But the ones who win, they don't rush. They put in work day after day and let results come when they're ready. They don't need to prove anything. They just keep going. Quietly, patiently, relentlessly. Take your time. Build slowly if necessary. What matters is that you don't stop. What matters is that every day you're doing something to move forward. Even if it's small. Even if nobody notices. You know what it means. You know how hard it is. And that's enough. Stay focused on your path and ignore the opinions. That's the mindset that protects your peace and gets you where you want to go. You can't walk forward while constantly looking around at what others think. You can't build something meaningful while giving attention to every voice around you. The world is full of noise. People will always have something to say. Some will question you. Some will doubt you. Some won't understand you at all. That's okay. It's not your job to convince them. Your job is to stay locked in on your purpose. When you decide to take your life seriously, you'll feel resistance. Not just internally, but from people around you. Some will try to pull you back. Some will joke about your discipline. Some will give advice based on their own fears, not your vision. And if you're not careful, you'll start adjusting your pace just to make others comfortable. You'll second-guess your choices. You'll look for reassurance. And that's how you lose momentum. You don't need to be understood by everyone. You need to be understood by yourself. You need to know what matters to you and why. That internal clarity is more powerful than any opinion. You don't owe explanations for choosing growth. You don't have to make sense to people who are standing still. Staying focused means protecting your mental energy. It means filtering what gets your attention. Every time you stop to respond to criticism or prove something to someone, you're taking time away from real work. You're slowing down to win a debate that doesn't even matter. Let them talk. Let them wonder. Let them guess. You have a path to walk, and you can't afford distractions. You were not born to please everyone. You were not created to live by someone else's standard. If your vision is clear and your intentions are honest, keep moving. Keep building yourself. Opinions don't build skill. Opinions don't put in work. Opinions don't wake up early for you. You do all of that. So why let opinions carry more weight than your own effort? Not everyone will support your boundaries. Some people are more comfortable with the old version of you. The one who said yes to everything. The one who played small. The one who blended in. But you're not here to stay the same. You're here to rise. And rising often means walking alone, at least for a while. It means standing firm when people question you. It means trusting your vision when nobody else sees it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Handle your struggles alone and grow from them. Not because you want to prove something. Not because you have to do everything by yourself forever. But because there's something powerful about facing your hardest moments without reaching for someone else to carry the weight. Growth starts when you stop running from pain and start learning to walk through it. There's no shortcut. The lessons you really need won't come from books or advice. They'll come from what you survive on your own. When you go through hard times, it's easy to look outward. To blame the world. To wait for someone to notice you're hurting. But real strength is built when you look inward and decide to take control of what you can. Even if it's just your attitude. Your next step. Your focus. People will say they understand, but nobody feels your struggle the way you do. Nobody carries the exact weight you carry. That's why relying too much on others won't help you build the strength you need. Most of your growth will come from moments when you feel like breaking but don't. From times when you want to quit but choose to move forward anyway. Those moments shape you. They test what you're made of. They expose weakness but also give you the chance to build something stronger. You stop pretending. You stop talking. You stop complaining. And you start facing things head-on, even when you're tired and overwhelmed. Some seasons require silence. They require you to sit with the struggle and figure out what it's trying to teach you. Not everything needs to be shared. Not every breakdown needs an audience. Some pain is there to show you something about yourself that you would never have seen otherwise. You don't become stronger by avoiding storms. You become stronger by learning to stand in the middle of them and not give in. The more you depend on others to fix what's broken inside you, the longer it takes to build the resilience your future demands. You won't always have people around. You won't always get the support you expect. But you'll always have your choices. You'll always have your ability to decide how you respond. That's where your power is. That's where growth begins. When you say, "This is hard, but I'm not going to let it stop me," most people avoid discomfort. They numb it. They distract themselves. But if you want to grow, you have to sit with it. Feel it. Let it reveal the areas you've been ignoring. The bad habits. The weak thinking. The emotional laziness. Struggles strip all that away. They leave you face to face with your truth. And when you face that truth alone, you change in ways no easy path could have prepared you for. Handling struggles in silence doesn't mean suffering in secret. It means choosing strength over sympathy. It means using pain as fuel, not as an excuse. It means you stop looking for someone to rescue you and start becoming the person who can rescue yourself. Let your results show what you've been doing. That's the mindset of someone who no longer needs to convince anyone. Not with words. Not with explanations. Not with constant updates. You just work. You build. You stay consistent. And eventually your life starts to change, not because you said it would, but because you made it happen. Quietly. On your own time. On your own terms. The people who spend the least time talking are often doing the most. Because their energy goes into work, not into proving they're working. There comes a point where you realize talking about goals doesn't move you forward. It might feel good temporarily, but it doesn't create results. You can share plans. You can explain what you want to do. But nothing really changes until you sit down, focus, and start building step by step. People don't remember your plans. They remember what you finish. What you build. What you follow through on. So stop trying to sound impressive and focus on becoming effective. There's a discipline that comes from doing work without needing to be seen. There's confidence that grows when you know you've been putting in effort even when nobody notices. That kind of discipline is rare. Most people are busy performing. They want to be known for something before they've done anything. But if you want to build a life that lasts, focus on your actions, not your image. What matters most is not what people think you're doing, but what you actually accomplish. Win big without announcing a single move. That's not just strategy. That's maturity. That's focus. That's understanding that real success doesn't need a stage. The more you grow, the more you realize the loudest person in the room is often doing the least. And the quiet ones? They're not broadcasting. They're not seeking attention. They're executing. Making small moves daily. Doing what needs to be done without sharing it with the world. And when results come, they arrive with strength, with depth, with undeniable clarity. You don't need to tell anyone what you're working on. You don't have to explain why you've gone quiet. If you're serious about building something valuable, your health, your skills, your finances, your character, the process requires stillness. Because the more you focus on telling, the less time and energy you have for doing. Most people announce everything. They set a goal and immediately share it. They start a new routine and want others to notice. But the problem is simple. The second you announce it, your brain gets a reward it didn't earn. It feels like progress, but nothing has actually changed. Winners know this. That's why they keep work quiet and let results deliver the message. When you win in silence, the reward is internal first. You're not seeking applause. You're not asking for validation. You're locked in on the standard you set for yourself, not the approval of a crowd that barely knows what you're sacrificing. Growth shows. You can't hide real elevation. But you also don't have to scream about it. It carries itself. The person who wins quietly also learns to handle success with humility. They're not in it to show off. They're not trying to trigger jealousy or prove anyone wrong. They've matured past that. They know the reward is the progress itself. The freedom. The options. The confidence. When you've earned something through private effort, you don't feel the urge to throw it in anyone's face. You just keep moving forward, calm and focused. You don't owe anyone a breakdown of how you got where you are. You don't need to explain how long it took or what you gave up. That part belongs to you. The long nights. The early mornings. The setbacks. The quiet wins. Those are personal. You built in silence, and the reward is yours to enjoy with peace. Winning big without saying a word also protects your future. When people don't know what's coming, they can't interfere. They can't speak doubt into your plans. They can't distract you with opinions. They can't sabotage what they don't see. Your silence becomes your shield. While others are showing off and seeking validation, you're working in the dark. Staying grounded. Staying focused. Building something that can't be undone by noise. And silence builds discipline. When you don't talk about every step, you learn to rely on yourself. You become your own source of motivation. Your own accountability. You start realizing not everyone needs to be involved in your process. Not everyone deserves to know your next move. Not everyone can handle your growth. And you're not obligated to include them. You're not rude. You're responsible. Responsible for your time. Responsible for your mindset. Responsible for your vision. Let other people talk. Let them chase attention. Let them pretend. You stay silent and stay dangerous. You do the work they avoid. You build the life they only talk about. You walk with confidence because you've earned it. You move differently because your habits are different. Your discipline is different. Your purpose is clear. That's how you win big without announcing a single move. Because the move is already in motion. The change is already happening. The shift is already underway. You're not talking about it. You're living it. Every day. Every hour. Every choice. When people finally see it, they'll think it happened fast. But you'll know the truth. It didn't happen overnight. It happened in silence. In discipline. In the hours nobody counted. In the days nobody cared. And you wouldn't have it any other way. Because real success doesn't scream. It doesn't beg to be seen. It simply shows up. Strong. Undeniable. Built to last. If this resonates with you, if you're ready to stop talking and start building, let me know in the comments. Tell me what you're committing to work on in silence. Make that declaration to yourself, not to the world. And if you want more content like this, real talk about discipline, focus, and winning without the noise, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Because we're just getting started. Until next time, remember this. Close your mouth. Get serious. Work quietly. And let your results do all the talking. That's how you focus in silence. That's how you win in public.